Right now, there is a $1.65 billion company,
Mm.
and they are, effectively printing money off the massive AI boom.
Oh, absolutely.
But the crazy part is, major Wall Street institutions literally do not have it on their radar.
Yeah, which sounds impossible, right?
Hmm.
I mean, in today's hyperanalyzed market, especially with the billions pouring into AI,
Right.
but we are looking at a massive structural blind spot that is just hiding in plain sight.
We are diving into a very specific raw investment thesis document today for you guys. It is titled Eingefügter Text, which roughly translates to inserted text.
Yeah, super catchy title, right?
Right, very creative. It is basically a fragment of high-level financial analysis, dense, dry, but it outlines exactly how a billion-dollar company can be a critical player for the biggest tech giants in the world, yet remain practically invisible to major financial institutions.
Invisible to the people whose entire job is to find them.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this, because finding a treasure map hidden in the dry language of supply chain notes is fascinating.
It really is. On the surface, a supply chain just looks like, logistics. Who buys what from whom?
Yeah, totally.
But when you read a note like this carefully, you realize it is actually a map of power dynamics. It shows structural advantages that most people miss.
And the author of this text comes out swinging right from the start.
Oh yeah, they do not hold back.
No, they don't. They claim top-tier financial institutions, specifically calling out GS, which is Goldman Sachs, completely missed a company called Shunsin, ticker symbol 6451.
Yeah.
They note Shunsin has a valuation of $1.65 billion and identify their sector as, quote, CPO packaging, test, and assembly.
Right, which is a mouthful.
It is. And honestly, I am stuck on this premise right out of the gate. Imagine a $1.65 billion cargo ship, right? Fully loaded with essential tech components.
Okay, I'm with you.
How does a colossal ship like that just cruise right past a high-tech military radar system?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right, because Goldman Sachs has thousands of analysts, endless resources, and these sophisticated screening algorithms. How do they just miss a billion-dollar company operating in the hardware sector?
Well, what's fascinating here is it is not that the institutional radar is broken, it is that the algorithms are incredibly rigid.
Okay, what do you mean by rigid?
Well, Wall Street categorizes companies into very specific buckets based on their historical revenue streams. So if a subsidiary is historically known for legacy manufacturing, say, older mobile phone components or traditional telecom equipment, the financial screening tools tag it permanently.
So they get stuck with the label legacy manufacturing.
Exactly.
So when the analysts go hunting for the next big AI hardware player, their filters just automatically exclude those legacy buckets.
They do. The algorithms screen for momentum, direct revenue exposure to buzzwords, and explicit tech classifications.
Wow.
Yeah, and the text highlights a specific sector that the institutions missed, which is CPO packaging, test, and assembly.
Okay, and we need to clarify what packaging means in this context, because in the semiconductor world, we are not talking about like cardboard boxes and foam peanuts.
No, definitely not cardboard box.
Right. We are talking about the microscopic casing that actually houses the silicon chip.
Yeah, the substrate, the incredibly tiny microscopic wires connecting the silicon die to the motherboard.
Which sounds so intense.
Oh, it is. It's the thermal management materials holding it all together. It is an intensely precise engineering feat.
Right.
And the text argues that Shunsin has quietly pivoted massive capabilities into this highly specialized next-generation packaging space.
But because of their corporate history, they are still wearing that legacy name tag.
Exactly. The financial algorithms see a generic manufacturer, but the author of our text sees a critical, specialized gear in a much more lucrative machine.
That perfectly explains the blind spot. I mean, the radar works, but it is scanning the wrong ocean.
That's a great way to put it.
But the text is aggressively bullish on Shunsin for a very specific reason. The author calls them a, quote, completely backdoored, hidden plus major beneficiary of the Nvidia CPO ramp.
Yes.
So what does this all mean? Let's start with backdoored.
Okay, yeah, let's break that down.
It is like trying to get into the most exclusive, sold-out concert of the decade. Everyone is fighting at the front door, paying outrageous scalper prices for tickets.
Right, which represents the public fighting to buy direct Nvidia stock or frontline vendors.
Exactly. But you do not need a ticket if your uncle owns the catering company providing the backstage food. You just, walk through the kitchen door.
That is exactly it. And the author's entire thesis hinges on that indirect backdoor exposure.
Right.
You do not need a headline-grabbing front-door contract with Nvidia to profit massively from their growth.
You just need to be in the kitchen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to really understand why this specific catering company is so essential, we have to look at what they are serving. The text specifically highlights the CPO ramp.
Right, CPO, co-packaged optics. We really need to break down the mechanics of this because honestly, it sounds like science fiction.
It does sound like sci-fi, yeah.
And it is clearly the catalyst for this entire investment thesis.
It absolutely is. It is the bleeding edge of physics right now. I mean, for decades, computer chips have communicated with each other using electrical signals sent over copper wires.
Okay.
But AI specifically, the massive server farms running NVIDIA's chips, processes data at such astronomical speeds that those copper wires are becoming a critical bottleneck.
So if traditional copper data transfer is like city street traffic at AI speeds,
Yeah.
the streets are just totally gridlocked.
Yeah, gridlocked and literally on fire.
Me, really? On fire?
Well, the heat generated by that electrical traffic jam is literally melting the roads, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
Copper creates electrical resistance, right?
Right, and a resistance creates heat.
Exactly. And AI clusters are already struggling to cool themselves down. So the solution is CPO co-packaged optics.
Okay, so how does that solve it?
Instead of sending electrical signals over copper, you translate the data into light and send it through microscopic fiber optic cables.
Oh, wow. So you are replacing the gridlocked city streets with a high-speed fiber optic subway system.
Yes, and the co-packaged part means you are building that subway system directly underneath the silicon.
That's wild.
You are putting the optical lasers and receivers onto the exact same microscopic package as the silicon chip itself.
But that sounds incredibly difficult to manufacture. I mean, you are dealing with literal light.
Oh, it is immensely difficult. You are aligning microscopic lasers.
Right.
If the alignment is off by a fraction of a millimeter, the light misses the receiver. The data is lost, and the whole chip is useless.
So the stakes are incredibly high.
Extremely. And the ramp the text refers to means Nvidia is trying to scale this production up massively right now.
Right. They need more of these fast.
Yes, and they desperately need partners who can actually execute this highly complex optical packaging at a commercial scale without errors.
Okay, so if Shunsin is backdooring into this astronomical Nvidia CPO ramp, how do the physical parts get from A to B?
That's where the network comes in.
Right, because the
Yeah.
text maps this out by introducing a web of manufacturing titans. It states, quote, Foxconn is a major supply chain partner among TSM and ASX,
Right.
and this triad is heavy. TSM Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, they are the undisputed kings of baking the actual silicon brains.
Yep, the best in the world.
And ASE Technology, they are heavyweights in broad semiconductor packaging.
Right.
And then you have Foxconn, famously the biggest electronics manufacturer on Earth. So how does Foxconn act as the central node connecting these disparate, massive entities?
Well, as we connect this to the bigger picture, we really have to look at the exact phrasing the author used. Foxconn is a major partner among TSM and ASX.
Among them.
Yes, this paints a picture of a deeply interconnected tech ecosystem where no single giant can do everything.
Meaning even a titan like TSM cannot just hand a finished AI server rack over to Nvidia?
Far from it, actually. TSM makes the raw silicon die, which is brilliant, but it's totally useless on its own. ASX might handle broad levels of structural packaging or, singulating the wafers.
Okay.
But taking that raw silicon, the optical lasers, the memory chips, the liquid cooling systems, and integrating them all into a final functioning server-grade product, that requires a master orchestrator.
Ah, so Foxconn is the logistical bridge.
Exactly. They have the sheer scale, the capital, and the deeply entrenched relationships to pull the raw materials from TSM, coordinate the intermediate steps with ASX, and assemble the final product.
Wow, it's so complicated.
It is. Technology has become so advanced that it requires this massive, synchronized symphony of specialized giants just to produce a single AI server.
So Foxconn is basically routing the traffic.
Right.
They're the ones with the direct relationship, the front door access to Nvidia.
Yes, exactly.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. The text reveals exactly how our mystery company, Shunsin, executes this backdoor strategy.
Yeah, this is the kicker.
It says, quote, Shunsin is Foxconn's optical arm and captures their captive optical and advanced packaging volume.
Right.
It explicitly notes Shunsin is, quote, not explicitly listed anywhere or have direct contracts with Nvidia. but Foxconn does?
Right. Foxconn has the contract.
Right. And Shunsin basically, quote, soaks up Nvidia CPO plus other volumes through Foxconn vertical integration.
Yeah.
It is a ghost kitchen setup.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Right. You order from a famous restaurant, which is Nvidia via Foxconn, but the actual specialized cooking, the optical packaging, is done quietly in the back by Shunsin.
Exactly.
But wait, I am reading this and thinking this feels incredibly risky.
How so?
Well, the text flat out admits Shunsin has zero direct contracts with Nvidia.
Right.
If you are a $1.6 billion company and you have no legal contract with the end buyer, aren't you incredibly vulnerable?
It seems like it, yeah.
Like, what stops Foxconn from just outsourcing this optical work to someone cheaper?
Well, that assumed vulnerability is exactly why the traditional financial models mispriced it.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. The institutional mindset demands a direct contract for security. Analysts look for guaranteed, legally binding revenue streams.
Right, they want to see the paperwork.
Exactly. But we have to unpack the precise terminology the text uses to counter your pushback. The author uses the phrase captive optical arm.
Captive, meaning they are structurally embedded into Foxconn.
Right. They are an in-house subsidiary. Now, vertical integration is not a new concept. Companies own their supply chains all the time.
Sure.
But the insight here is why Foxconn keeps this specific function captive, rather than just absorbing it into their main operations or outsourcing it.
Okay, why?
Well, as we discussed, co-packaged optics is brutally difficult. It requires massive capital expenditure, highly specialized clean rooms, and intense intellectual property protection.
So Foxconn cannot just outsource the microscopic alignment of lasers to the lowest bidder.
They literally cannot risk it. They need an in-house specialist they completely control to guarantee the quality required by Nvidia.
Right, that makes sense.
But doing it within the massive, sprawling bureaucracy of the main Foxconn entity, that is just inefficient.
Too much red tape.
Exactly. So they utilize Shunsin, a dedicated captive arm with its own specialized R&D, its own engineering talent, and a singular focus on optical packaging.
So they built a dedicated, ultra-high-end ghost kitchen just for the most complicated dishes on the menu.
Exactly. And because Shunsin is that captive arm, they do not need a sales team pitching to Nvidia.
Oh, right.
They automatically, as the text phrases it, soak up the volume. When Foxconn signs a multi-billion-dollar AI hardware contract with Nvidia, the incredibly complex optical packaging portion of that contract is simply routed internally directly to Shunsin.
The valve just opens and the volume pours in.
It is a closed-loop system. The lack of a direct Nvidia contract is not a vulnerability. It is the very mechanism that shields Shunsin from Wall Street's algorithms.
Wow.
Yeah, the screening tools look for Nvidia vendor, they see Foxconn, and they stop looking.
They don't look past the front door.
No, they do not dig into the internal corporate plumbing to see that Foxconn is routing all the high-margin, next-generation optical work to a subsidiary.
A subsidiary that still has a legacy manufacturing tag in the financial databases.
Okay.
They are hiding in plain sight. I mean, you do not need to see the water flowing into the house if you know exactly how the pipes are routed inside the walls.
And that is the core of the author's thesis.
Right.
By understanding the physics of what Nvidia actually needs the co-packaged optics and understanding the corporate plumbing of how Foxconn delivers it, you find a massive structural advantage that the standard financial screens are just totally blind to.
It totally changes how you look at the supply chains we rely on every day.
It really does.
For you listening, we've covered a lot of ground today in this deep dive. We started by looking at a massive billion-dollar institutional blind spot caused by rigid algorithms failing to categorize companies correctly.
Yep, the legacy tag.
Right. And we explored the concept of backdoor exposure, finding VIP access to the AI boom by understanding the catering company, so to speak.
And the physics behind it all.
Exactly. We dug into the high-speed physics of co-packaged optics, explaining why replacing copper with microscopic fiber optic subways is essential for the future of computing.
Crucial stuff.
Then we navigated the sheer complexity of the tech manufacturing web, seeing how Foxconn acts as the crucial logistical bridge among titans like TSM and ASX.
Master orchestrator.
Right. And finally, we untangled the secret of the ghost kitchen, understanding how captive vertical integration allows a company to systematically soak up massive growth without a single public contract.
It's a brilliant setup.
It is a powerful reminder that true value in deep research often lies in finding the unlisted, indirect relationships. The real story is rarely the front page contract. It is the hidden plumbing routing the value behind the walls.
This raises an important question, though, one that goes far beyond just one company or one investment node.
Okay, what is it?
If an entire $1.65 billion company can be structurally hidden in plain sight as a captive arm, doing the most complex optical engineering on the planet, how many other critical components of the technology we rely on every single day are built by ghost companies?
That's a little unsettling.
Right. How many entities are entirely off major institutional radars, quietly soaking up billions of dollars in the background of our modern world?
Wow. The next time you use a piece of high-end AI technology, it really makes you wonder whose hands actually built the microscopic lasers inside.
Definitely.
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.